everybody. Let's get the camera flipped around. Hello. Happy week 13. We're just cruising right along. It's springtime. So we're all ready to, excuse me, I have a hair in my eye. Yeah. So we're all ready to celebrate spring. I live in Arizona, so it's been spring, almost summer for a little while here, although it's dropping back down this week, so that's good. I'm Paula Montgomery from Desert Cat Creations, and I want to welcome you to week 13 of the Bead Stash Challenge. Today, we're going to draw to see what we're going to make this week. So we do our drawings every Sunday live, and then on Thursdays, we make our project live, show you how it's made, and talk a little bit about how to make things, how to make jewelry or whatever we happen to draw. And you get to see how I make it live. Now, mine is not the only way to make things, but I show you how I do it, and I try to explain why. So hopefully you get a little something extra out of it. We're gonna make some earrings today. I thought I would make some, we're gonna do a little wire wrapping. We're gonna do a little designing and just have some fun making a little pair of spring earrings. You know, we make a lot of bracelets. Sometimes we've made bracelets, I guess, the last couple of weeks. So I thought we would make earrings today. And I am wearing last Thursday's project. So this was our wrap bracelet. So that was lots of fun. Didn't give me as much trouble as the bracelet we made the week before. So that's always a good sign. As far as announcements, so next week is Easter. So I will probably, I haven't decided whether I'll do the drawing offline or just and post it, or if I'm going to do it edit on a different day. My plans are pretty easy, so, it doesn't, I will be available at times on Sunday, but, I realize that many of you will be celebrating with your family, hanging out, going to church, whatever it is you do on Easter. So anyways, I may delay it till Monday. Sometimes I do that. I haven't looked at this weekend, so we could even do it Saturday. But anyways, I will let you guys know on Thursday what the schedule will be. All right. Just, I want to respect the fact that you guys are off doing other things. That said, you can always watch the replay, and you can catch us on Facebook, the replays for 30 days. And then after that, everything's on YouTube. Now I move it over to YouTube long before that, but all our videos are available for the extended time on YouTube at Desert Cat Creations. That's our channel. And you can, if you have any questions, just, comment on any of my posts or direct message me, and I'll be happy to help you out. So hopefully you all have your bunnies out and decorated, everywhere, so that you can enjoy your bunnies for Easter. We added bunnies this year because, bunnies have to multiply, so don't forget. You probably won't get it in time unless you live real close, but we do have our limited edition copper bunny kit for this year for $15. You can buy direct from me or on our webpage, or on our webpage, our website, which is all that, https:// desert-cat-creations.square.site. That is our page. It is in the overview of all of our social media pages, so you can find it there. Again, if you have any questions, just reach out and ask. So let's go ahead and get our drawing started, and let's see what we're going to make this week. It's always exciting for me to see what we're making. All right. So remember, my bracelet's upside down. We are drawing from our Bead Stash Challenge cards. These cards, we have 5 decks currently available. Now, deck 1 is the base deck. you should start with that one, and then we have what we call expansions decks that add things to that, like our color deck, which adds all things color. We have our non-jewelry and findings deck, which has you make your own findings and use all your findings that are in your bead stash, right? We have our sun and sea deck, which is a great time if you don't already have that one to consider getting that one, because it's all about summer and vacation and being at the beach, those kind of things, right? And then we have our desert southwest, which is all about this area. So things that, you know, whether it's the culture, the food, the things like that, all that is available at Desert Southwest. Hey Lorena, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're having troubles. I don't know what's going on. Mine isn't buffering, but I turned off my phone and restarted it before I always do that before I get on. But let's go ahead and draw. So, and again, if you have these 5 decks, there are 3 types of cards that may be in those decks. Not every deck has every type of card. But the first is our make cards. Now I have all 5 of my decks shuffled together. And I remove the cards. I set them aside once we've used them until we run out of cards, so that we make sure that you guys get to see everything made. Hey, Marianica. So let's find out what we're going to make. So the best thing, you know, these kind of cards help out when we're just staring at a pile of beads and we don't know where to get started, right? So this can tell us what to make. So we are going to make a link or connector. So this card is from our non-jewelry and findings deck. So we are going to make our own link or connector and use it in the project of our choice. Now what I like to do is draw the next couple of cards, and sometimes it'll tell me what project I'm going to make. That said, you know, if you wanted to draw a second make card to see if it tells you what to make, you could do that too. There are no rules other than you're supposed to have fun with this. That is the only rule that I have, right? So if you draw something and you're like, I really don't want to make that, you know what? Set it aside, put it back, pick another card, okay? That always is an option for you. Now, our second kind of cards is our use cards. These tell us what to pull out of our stash and use in our project this week. Minimize your screen and come back in, Lorraine. Maybe you should be able to see the comments. Mine does that sometimes too on other videos. All right, so anyways, the use cards. This is what we're going to pull out of our stash. So whatever we make, we're going to use chain in our design. I draw 3 because I think it's a nice set of cards to work with. But you can draw 5 if you want. You can draw 2 if you want. You can draw 1 if you want, right? All right, we are going to use feathers in our design. Now, that doesn't mean I have to go out and pull feathers out of a bird so I can use it in my design. That means that my beads or my charms have to have feathers. Now, if you want to use real feathers, you are welcome to, right? All right, and my third card is using a box clasp in my design. So that kind of tells me that I'm either making, between the chain and the box clasp, I am making either a bracelet or a necklace. So that's where we went. Yay! All right, and our last kind of cards is our challenge. You know, this is called Bead Stash Challenge, right? So, our challenge cards add a theme, they add a design element or something to our project that we're going to make. And let's see what we've got. Now, I recently flipped both of these decks over, the used deck and the challenge deck, which is why there's so many cards. But there are a lot, I will admit. So, all right. So we are going to make a design with at least 7 different components. So see, I would I consider that one a design element thing, but it's easy enough to do, right? So we just have to add up. Now a component can be your chain, it can be what goes into your link, right? So my link is probably going to have metal and some sort of bead, right? So that's 2 right there. Chain would be 3. A feather would be 4, right? The clasp maybe 5. So any different thing that goes into your project is a component, okay? So I just want to make sure all you understand that, all right? And like I said, as always, you can direct message Desert Cat Creations, and I'll be happy to help you out if you're confused on any of the cards or where to find things. Hey, Janelda. So this week on Thursday, we are going to make a link or connector, and then we're going to use chain, feathers, a box clasp, and at least 7 different components in our project. So tune in Thursday noon Pacific time to see what we're going to do there. All right. So I always like to throw in a little project on Sunday. So I've been wanting to, one of my goals for this year was to use more of my gemstones. So you're seeing me using gemstones, but thought I'd make some earrings I really wanted to use these Amazonite butterflies that I bought at the gem show. No problem, Janelda. You were just on time, right? All right, so I thought we would make something with these sweet little Amazonite butterflies. If anybody's interested in these, I do have some available. Then I just pulled out some other Amazonite beads from my stash so that we can design something. You know, I figured the butterflies need to fly. We need something that's a little, you know, got some movement in it all. Oh, and if you like these, I have them in Amazonite. I have them in a turquoise color, and I'm sure they're halite. And I have them in a pink, what is it? Pink quartz, I think, what they are. So, all right. So, and then I also thought I haven't used these. I make a lot of dangles using French wires. We're gonna use some posts today. These are pre-made posts. We'll see how they go. So there's a hole that we have to connect it to, so we got to keep that in mind, right, as we put these together. I also do have some smaller rounds, but I actually kind of think I like this combination unless it gets too long. Okay, so let's think about this. So I'm thinking we need some dangly movement, right? All right. So the question is, does the butterfly go on the bottom? Or we could make them asymmetric, and we could put our butterflies in different spots. And then I have a variety of silver spacers here just to kind of see what I want to do. So my thought was I would do some simple wire wrapping and let them dangle and move around. I feel like the maybe you make them the opposite of each other. What do you guys think? Should I make some asymmetric? Oh, and then it's gonna have this. So these are not gonna be real short, but I have them spread out a little more than they need to be. But I don't know, does that look like a good order? Here, we can zoom in a little bit more. I'll move my other stuff out of the way. Pull out a couple of head pins. You like them mismatched or asymmetric? If I had, you know, 3, I could do one in the middle. I'm just teasing. All right, so one thing to think about is whether or not I want to put, you know, spacers. I don't think on the round bead and this, not really sure. I guess that's sort of an oval, but it's also kind of a rectangle with smooth edges that's drilled through the middle. Although this other piece is more oval. Yeah. But remember, so these butterflies are what I would consider sort of our challenge beads. So remember, you know, you've got to get your something in the bottom and be able to wrap it, and then you've got to be able to wrap it at the top. So it's worth putting, you know, a little bead or a little spacer. So let me see what I have here. I definitely at least need one on the top, okay? And I may not have gotten... All right, so I have, these are little daisy spacers. So let's try that. So we're playing a little, you know, playing a little today. Actually, that's not bad. Like those little daisies. And so what that'll make it easier for me to do the wrap on the top. Now when I go to the other one, I'm going to want to put the same spacers on there, but you know, it'll be a little less less important on the bottom one, but the top one we will need our spacers. So the question is, do I need spacers on any of these other beads? There's no rules that I have to use the same thing. Kind of like these spacers. I can't remember who I got these from. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are little flat spacers. I think these are maybe the same ones I used in the Suncatcher kits. I don't know why those ones seem to be stuck together, so let's get a different one off here. All right. Do you guys put you know, spacer beads around your gemstones? Your comments aren't showing. Yeah, I mean, Lorraine, I'm seeing some. I don't know if you have more, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Now I want, I don't want, you know, big wraps, because these are going to be kind of long. So I'm going to go ahead and just bend that wire right at the top of the bead. And we're going to do our loop right there. You know, normally we would leave some extra room. Now at this point, I want the bead to be able to move so I can get my loop in here. But you see I don't have a whole lot of room in there, which is by design. And let's now grab that with our chain nose, and you're just going to pull it tight, do the once around, and then I'm going to trim that. Where's my, and then we're gonna carefully tuck that in without mushing. I don't want to mush our spacer or our loop, but there we go. We have one guy there. And I, you know, we've talked about this before, but I like to build, I'm still one short. Beads for, I guess that makes sense. Put two away because they were stuck together, right? So let's, now we're going to take our 22 gauge wire, and I'm going to put a spacer, and I'm just using little tiny thin spacers because I don't want the spacers to overtake the you know, the beauty of the gemstones. So all right, so I don't need a big loop here. I also don't need a big tail because, again, I'm trying to minimize the metal, but I do need a big enough loop that those can swing around. Okay. So let's do that, and then I am just gonna go like 1.5 times round there. So and tighten that up. Slide everything down here. See, it moves around. And here I'm going to do this where I'm just going to bend it again because we want to keep our wraps small. Kind of feel like that loop's a little bigger than I wanted. Okay, so there we go. And again, we're just gonna go around enough to tighten that up. And we're gonna gently tuck that in. All right, so we've got 2. Now that would be a pretty dangle just from there, but I didn't close it up. But you know, we like long earrings, right? So we're gonna put our third bead there. So again, I'm putting on my spacer bead, my round, and my other spacer bead. So again, I don't need a huge loop, so we're just doing that, pulling that on there before we close it. And we're going to hold that while we wrap this around. And I'm going to tuck that sharp edge in, slide everything back down. All right, and then once again, we are, now actually this one, I may want a little space because it's going to attach to this ear wire. So I think I am going to use my ends of my pliers to make a small ledge there. Now I'm going to make this a little bigger because I got to go through the our ear component. All right, so let's take that off of there, and then let's put it on here. And you notice I'm not really worrying about what direction my hopefully this is big enough. Sometimes getting things through the onto components without coming apart or destroying your loop, you have to open it a little bit. Actually, I think I'm going to do it the other way so that that loop kind of comes around the front. So I'm putting my loop on there so that my wrap wire faces the back, okay? And that's just a little design detail to make it a little cleaner. Now, this will be a little challenging to hold this, but we're gonna gently hold that loop, and then I'm going to like pull that gently with my other pliers so that it wraps tight around this wire. Right. And since I have that space filled in, trim it. And gently tighten that without bending our thing. There we go. What do you guys think? Is that a fun spring earring? Do you like that? So Lorraine, one of the things I do, if you are having troubles, I don't know if you can hear me, but is I make sure all my updates are up to date, and then I turn my phone off and back on. Especially if you've been watching a lot of lives, your memory on your phone fills up. All right. Apparently my end was not tucked in there very well. So. All right. So anyways, there we go. We got one earring. So let's make the other one. Those are kind of long, but hey, you know, it's all fun, right? All right, so this one, we're gonna start at the bottom here. Thank you, Janelda. I was going for the spring look. So this one, you know, I'm using my head pin, just putting my spacers on there. All right, and again, we're gonna bend this like right at the top there. So like I said, we're kind of minimizing our wraps so that the gemstones get the main billing here. So all right. Yeah, if you watch a lot of lives, I would recommend like at least every couple days turning your phone off completely for a few minutes, and that kind of clears out your problem. But it sounds like maybe you needed to move closer to your router. I don't know. All right, so we got that guy, and we're gonna put this one in the middle, right? Oops, almost forgot my spacer. All right. So all right, and again, we're gonna keep this one small. You know, I am not normally a butterfly person, but when I saw these, you know, and I actually bought quite a few things with butterflies this year. Because I bought some crystal butterflies too, but I decided the colors of my crystal butterflies did not coordinate with my gemstone butterflies. But anyways, yeah, like I said, I'm not necessarily a butterfly person, but I mean, I love butterflies, live ones, but not necessarily in my jewelry. But I couldn't resist these because, you know, it's my favorite color. All right. So again, we're doing the tiny wrap here. And once around, kind of pulling that tight. Hopefully you're not having bad weather there this weekend. We've had really weird weather the last couple days. It's been extremely hazy. We've got like just dirt sitting in the air, and it's not a sandstorm. It's just but it's blocking my view of the mountains. All right, so remember, your butterfly's got to go on the right direction, or you just need to make sure you're connecting it. Your favorite color also, Marianica. Who doesn't like this color, right? All right, so we're making our wrap. Put that on there. And like I said, I want to get around at least once, but not too much. Cold and sunny. Yeah, like I said, sometimes we get sandstorms, and they were saying we had a wind advisory, although the wind must be up high because it's not really it doesn't feel windy around here. My trees are not blowing or anything, so. Anyways, all right. Yeah, we got our butterfly. All right, and then so at the top here, remember I need to leave a little space because you got to have some space between here and the ear wire, or the ear, whatever, earring finding. All right, so again, I could close the loop and then put this directly or onto here using a jump ring, but as we know, jump rings add a weak spot, in case somebody pulling on your earrings. Now, things on your ears are less likely to get yanked on unless you have, like, a baby, or they get caught in your hair, right? So, but still, I think I like to put things directly, hardwired on here if I can. Now, I'm going to end up with more wraps here, but that's because I didn't want the wings up next to the earring finding so much. And like I said, we'll figure out the we will figure out what direction everything's going in a minute here. So. There's still a little piece I need to get going the right direction here. So, like I said, you just kind of gently, you always want to squeeze hard, but sometimes that's the one thing in jewelry making you gotta learn is when to go ahead and squeeze hard and when to sort of gently nudge things into place. All right, so let's make sure everything's going the right direction. So I need this loop to face forward. Now I'm going to squeeze that away. I think my loop looks a little lopsided. Not sure what's going on there. All right, well. All right, so I want to make sure, you know, my butterfly is facing forward. This one I probably want facing forward too. So I can, you know, sometimes I like to make these loops go opposite directions. But with the bottom bead, it doesn't matter. So here we go. I think this one was okay, especially since it was on the bottom. Okay, so what do you guys think? Are those fun spring earrings? We'll put one on and show you how long they are. But we demonstrated a little wire wrapping. We demonstrated how to work with that butterfly bead. All right, putting these on. Actually, like these air components are nice and stiff. Sometimes you get ones that the back bends when you're trying to put the things on. All right, let's flip the camera. See what it looks like. All right, so we've got our butterflies. Here's my lighting isn't good here, but those are fun, and they're really not too long. See, they don't reach down here. Now, if I was wearing a collar or something, it might be obnoxious, but I rarely wear things with collars on them because I don't know why. Anyways, that was fun. So thanks for helping me design these springy earrings. Like I said, I do have some more of those available. Let me show you. I'll show you what the other colors. In case anybody wants some. Now I only have one strand each of the other colors, but of course I bought 2 strands of the goodness sakes. Our favorite gemstone, Amazonite. Sorry. All right. So I do have them, like I said, in this this color, which I'm sure these are just halite or magnesite. They are not, and they actually might even be synthetic. I don't know. I almost didn't buy them, and then I bought them because I like the color. And then I do have these ones that are in a light pink quartz. So, like I said, if anybody wants some butterflies, let me know. I could probably even make a little kit if you like this particular set. So, if you'd be interested in that, let me know, because I think I have enough to make a couple of kits. So, anyways, that was fun. Yay. All right, so Thursday we will be back. We'll be making a linker connector. We'll be using chain, feathers, a box clasp, and at least 7 different components. What else? I'm still working behind the scenes. I've been having fun working on some other things. Like I said, working on some new kits for you guys. I'm in talks with a local store that sells artisan stuff that's made local. Okay, so hopefully by next weekend I will have some news for you on whether that all works out. I'm going in, showed them a few things, they were excited about it, so I'm going back on Thursday to finalize them possibly carrying some of my stuff in their store. So that's really exciting, but it's also means I have to make more of these things that I only had a few sitting around on. So and I'll have to show you what I've been doing for the cactus garden things to get them ready for that potential sales in the stores. So I will show you all that on next weekend or whatever. And again, I will let you know Thursday what I'm gonna do for Sunday, since it is Easter, and I realize that a lot of people will be spending time with family or at church or just doing other things. So I will we'll let you know. So I'll either do something on Saturday. I'll have to look at my schedule, or Monday probably, or I may just draw the cards and throw up a video to something else, if that seems to make the most sense. The following weekend I also have some out-of-town company that's going to be here, but maybe I'll just do the show and then we'll go do our thing. So anyways, that's where we're at. So I will let you know. Hopefully I'll have some exciting news for you this week. I hope all of you have a great week. Thank you, Marianica and Lorraine. Yeah, it's exciting for me. It's a little intimidating, but yeah, I think it's be good. It's not a place that gets a ton of it's a little out of the way, but they, every time I've been there, there's been customers in there, so that's encouraging. So anyways, I will let you know. Like I said, Thursday we'll be back to make our week 13 project, and then I will also let you know at that time what we're going to do for the week 14 drawing, okay? And I hope you have a chance to be creative this week, spend a little time. As always, like I said, if you have questions on anything that please direct message Desert Cat Creations or Paula Montgomery. If you find me, that's fine too. And I will get back to you. And if you haven't already, one free way to support us, yes, I did. One free way to support me is to like and follow us, like and follow my my posts, and to on Facebook, Instagram. I don't get a whole lot of love on Instagram, but that's okay. I'm still trying to figure that one out anyways. And we'll let's see, and subscribe to us on YouTube. So thank you, Janelda. Yeah, like I said, we'll hope, last time I got excited about something, it fell through, so hopefully this one won't. And if this one works out, there's also the opportunity to teach small workshops in the store, so that could be a lot of fun too. So the option of being able to sell kits directly versus also just selling finished things. I'm putting finished items in there right now, so that's the challenge for me. But anyways, I will show you some more on Thursday, and then I'll be heading up to the store to work with them after our show on Thursday. So that'll be exciting. All right. You guys have a great week. I'm sure I will see you all around in other places, and stay safe. Crazy world out there. But I will see you all on Thursday at noon Pacific. Thanks. Bye.